very discussing yesterday. Just this book I'm reading about a true crime that happened. A woman with bipolar disorder was shot dead in her church in broad daylight. She was alone, working as a secretary for the church, and someone just walks in and shoots her dead.
That's pretty horrifying. I mean, just the savagery of just the cold-bloodedness of it is astounding.
Yeah. A fellow parishioner, a proclaimed Christian. I say proclaimed because I don't believe people like that are real Christians.
I have doubts, yeah. As to the depth of their faith when they're willing to just murder somebody in cold blood.
Over nothing.
Over nothing at all.
Over something she perceived wasn't real.
A situation she made up in her own head. It's astounding.
But today I was continuing the book, and one of the chapters kind of delved into her history and kind of the problems that she had in her life. You know, she had parents who were kind of indifferent to her. Her father gradually got worse as he got older, and after his wife died, he just kind of lost the will to her. And cousins who just were just cruel to her, and a brother who just kind of wanted her out of her hair, out of his hair as soon as possible. So it's not, it doesn't excuse what happened, but it kind of explains her mental state.
Shed some light on the baggage she was dragging around.
Yeah, it kind of, you know, what may have led up to her snapping and doing something like this was, it was just, you know, everyone just kind of always kind of thought of her as odd, so she's always kind of had like that mental problem.
Okay. She lived up to everybody's expectations, basically.
Basically, yeah, and she was just always odd, and she liked to talk a lot, and people pretend to, you know, shy away from that. She just liked to, you know, ramble, and she just didn't have an awareness of when to stop, how to stop.
So she didn't pick up on like social cues and stuff.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
not socially aware.
Okay.
And when you have somebody like that, you just tend to avoid them because you don't want to get trapped in a situation where you're left listening to her ramble for an hour, which is, yes, understandable, but at the same time, she was kind of shut out. So this fantasy that occurred in her head actually stemmed from reality.
Yeah.
People were leaving her out.
Right.
And that kind of what planted the seed and grew into this eventually what she thought was an affair that wasn't happening with the man that she loved and that she wanted to be with, which just wasn't true.
Yeah.
You know, this poor victim was just a member of the church, and he was trying to help her. He was doing a Christian thing. He was doing the right thing, helping someone in need.
Giving her a job and giving her, you know, a way to pay her bills and stuff.
Yeah. And it just, in the killer's mind it grew into so much more. It was one of these situations where you wonder, how much do we really blame the killer for? Because, you know, as much as she was left out of stuff, like the victim, this man, pastor of this church,
term before.
Yeah. So, you know, she just kind of, whether she was in love with a man or whether she was in love with the man behind the collar, you know, it's kind of unsure, you know, what was in her mind. But, you know, she got to the point where she was so possessive of him that she just couldn't let go. And she every time he threw a hint at her, look, I don't feel this way, and he locked his door, he turned off his answering machine, he blocked her phone number from his phone because she was calling so often.
Right.
All these little gentle hints, like, I don't feel this way, he's trying, you know, leave me alone, I've got a job to do here. But she would take a hint eventually. Another thing I read today in the book was he finally just snapped and let her have it. You know, I don't feel this way. Please leave me alone. Consider going to another church. I don't want to be your pastor.
Yeah,
But to be fair, she was full on harassing him.
oh, sure, yeah.
She was leaving dozens of phone calls and voice messages a week. And she was going into his house, you know, without him knowing. And
Yeah, that's creepy.
this was, to be fair, in his point of view, he was starting to see a situation here he might not be able to get out of.
Right. That's a horrifying situation. And I mean, I'm sure he didn't arrive at the decision lightly to
Yeah.
basically say, you gotta go somewhere else.
No.
That doesn't strike me as something that, I mean, he wouldn't have done that lightly. Just even the little bit of the book that I've read that you've sent me, or the little bit of discussion that we've had, seems like he hung in there as long as he could to try to, you know, be, you know, accommodating and whatever. But it came to a point where it's like, I gotta look out for me.
And the elder board wouldn't help him. They just said, oh, you're overreacting, deal with it, eventually go away. Or it's not as bad as you think. Stalking at that level is never...
Yeah, that doesn't just go away.
It never goes away, and it always leads to something worse.
Yeah.
She was stalking him.
Yeah, stalkers don't just give up.
No.
That doesn't happen. Something has to intervene to stop that situation.
Yeah. So and I think it was that official rejection from him, which is what got the ball rolling for her to eventually snap and kill this innocent woman. Was, you know, yes, it was all in her head, but the steps leading up to it, just, you know, being rejected by her own church, being alienated, left out of things, and then, you know, to be rejected by the pastor, and then to see, you know, this other woman get help that she had often needed but never got, and then to call the church expecting to hear the pastor's voice, and then hearing her voice because she was the new secretary. You know, that's actually what caused her to grab her gun and get in the car, go to the church and shoot this woman, because she was there with the pastor. She wanted to talk to the pastor. She ended up hearing this woman's voice, this other woman in her mind.
Yeah.
Was there with the pastor. So,
Yeah, there's definitely some mental illness happening on her part. It's just that's a rough situation all the way around.
I mean, both of these women, the killer and the victim, were both suffering greatly.
Yeah.
It kind of makes me feel, not just for the victim, but for the killer too. I mean, she needed help. She needed psychiatric help, and she was rejected by her family. They never got her help from her church.
case of clear-cut good and evil necessarily. It was just miscommunication, it was misunderstandings, it was fantasies and mental illness all contributing to this tragedy. And people were just not getting the help that they needed in the time that they needed to get it. And now a perfectly nice woman is dead because people kept dropping the ball.
Yeah. And, the other woman's in jail for the rest of her life.
Well, the possible upside to that, other than, she won't be shooting anybody else, is that maybe she'll get the help that she needs mentally to clear that up.
Yeah.
That is at least something, is that this is in Pennsylvania, I think it was?
Yes, it was.
I'm not really sure how the prison system in Pennsylvania works, but I'm given to understand that you're able to get medical and mental health care whilst you're incarcerated. But it's very sad that it had to go as far as it did in order for someone to finally, in order for her problems to really get noticed, I suppose.
It's sad. I mean, like we were discussing yesterday, all this church was doing was helping this victim.
Mm-hmm.
All they wanted to do was help her out. But if we look at what we've been discussing today, if they had done the same for this other woman, it's just
this might all have turned out very differently.
It just this church, like, all they were doing was the right thing, the Christian thing. But if they had done that same Christian thing for somebody else,
someone that they found annoying and tough to be around, maybe this would have turned out differently. That's tough. That's a hard one. Because then you start having to look at yourself and be like, well, what did I do to contribute to this? What could I have done differently? I think the pastor must be asking himself that.
Yeah, I won't really know till I get to the end.
I suppose that's true.
But, he's got to have a lot of mixed feelings about all of this.
Right. No.
Stalking is definitely not something you should blame on the victim ever, because the fixation, the obsession, is on the side of the perpetrator.
Right.
And all he was trying to do was protect himself.
Yeah, that's...
When it boiled down to it, he had to protect himself.
Sure. And that's how those true crime shows and the true crime novels and things like that, any one of them that deals with stalking kind of has that same sort of theme running through it. A lot of times, the victim did everything they could to distance themselves from the stalker. They, try restraining orders, they try notifying the police, they this and that and the other thing. And it just, the victim, in a lot of cases, in most cases, is doing everything that they can do to stop the problem before it gets worse. But, without... It's English words. And I think the stalking laws are changing somewhat since some recent cases. They're getting better. But it used to be that basically, the police couldn't do anything until they actually try something. That's way too late.
Way too late.
way too late.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can't, nothing at all until, bullets come through the window.
Happens, yeah.
Nothing at all until the dog's hanging on the front door. Nothing? Really? Okay. And that's, and it's not necessarily the fault of the police. It's, legally speaking, if their hands are tied, their hands are tied.
Yeah.
So it's good that the laws are being looked at and being revised in cases like that. I'm not saying that we should, preemptively arrest anybody who gets accused of stalking, because people have made false stalking accusations before.
Yeah.
It's a thing that happens. It's just, that's a whole weird situation. It's what constitutes stalking, what is the appropriate response to it, legally speaking, and law enforcement speaking.
It's also something that the victim has to take into account. I mean, yes, you call the police every time you can, but you also have to do a lot of the effort. A lot of the work is on your part. You have to keep a log of every time this person shows up, when they shelter, every time they call. Collect as much evidence on your part as you can,
so that you can
help
give
the
that
police.
to the police. And this is what's
The more
happening. This is
evidence,
when.
the better. And
Absolutely,
that's
there's no
your
such
job.
thing as too much evidence.
Yeah. It's your job to collect that.
It unfortunately is. Yeah, just because you might be a victim of stalking doesn't mean that you don't have the responsibility to do as much as possible to keep yourself safe and to keep yourself legally protected, and make sure there's paperwork. Document.
Yeah, a lot of stalking victims get security systems with a lot of cameras.
That's just a good idea for anybody, really.
Yeah. But
Security systems with cameras, a dash cam or something of that nature, so that if they happen to be following you, you can see if you can't angle the camera to catch them following you. Things like that. James Bond up. You're gonna kind of have to. It's just that's your life at that point, unfortunately. And it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen to anybody. Nobody deserves that. But if you do find yourself in that situation, the more surveillance, the more evidence you can collect, the better.
Yeah.
And tell people around you. Tell your friends, tell your family, people at church, people at work, whatever. Don't try to tough it out on your own, because that's just going to isolate you.
That's something that the pastor did as well. I mean, short of going to the elder board, he didn't really do anything else about it. He didn't talk to any of the other parishioners. He didn't talk to the police at all. He didn't go to the police. He didn't think he had a case. He just dealt with it.
Right.
It's like, I mean, what do you do in his position? It's his job to reach out. It's his job to listen. It's his job to visit.
Right.
So,
that's
what do you
a different situation somewhat.
Yeah. But, maybe something like a restraining order might have helped him. In this case.
That would have, at least legally, given him recourse to do something that would have encouraged her to move on to a different church. And things like that. And I mean, restraining orders are all well and good. They are a layer of protection. But if your stalker's determined, that's just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
I mean...
But it's a piece of paper that makes contact illegal, so...
Yes, you need to have that.
You need to have it. I don't care what you think about it, you've got to have it.
No, it's absolutely important. I'm not saying that people shouldn't get them.
A lot of victims say, it's just a piece of paper, it's not going to stop them from killing me. But it won't make it illegal for them to contact you.
Right.
You have to get it.
Right. No, I'm not saying that you shouldn't get it. It's absolutely essential that you do that if you're being stalked, or if you suspect you're being stalked. If you can, at all possible, get a restraining order against that person, then yes, by all means do it. Because that at least gives you a place to go should the contact continue and not escalate to, murder yet.